All right, so we're live? I think we're live. Okay.
Sorry, guys. All right, there you go. Sorry, we get that in for a second.
We are so professional here.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes,
We're doing one of our own tonight, so it's okay.
Yes. So, everybody, welcome to the Isn't It Romantic Book Club. Tonight, we're going to be talking with our very own Jennie Marts about her book, How to Cowboy, which, like all Jennie's books, it's like just bad.
I know. I love the covers.
Yes. So anyway, I'm glad you're here, and I would like to say hi to all the groups that we're beaming into. We're beaming into the Isn't It Romantic Book Club. Hi, Club. We're beaming into My Dangerously Dark Darlings. We're beaming into Jennie's Page Turners. We're into Team Source Books tonight, and we're on YouTube. And just a little heads up, we also have a podcast. So you'll be finding this on a podcast within the next week or so. So I'm Abbie Roads. Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I write dangerously dark romance, and I tell people think an episode of Criminal Minds meets a love story with a little bit of a paranormal twist. I've got 5 books out. My latest one is Capturing Fate, and that's me.
Hi, everybody. It's Diana Muñoz Stewart. I write romantic suspense for the strong of heart. My recent releases include Broken Promises, which is out now, and Amor Actually. It's an anthology, which was so much fun to write. We wanted to let everybody know that tonight we have some giveaways going on. So if you comment or ask a question, you can be entered to win a book, a gift card, or an item from our store. And I believe one of the books is one of Jennie's books, Rescuing Harmony Ranch, which is also, I think you can get it at the Kindle store for $1.99 in case anybody's interested in that.
It's really good.
It's one of her Hallmark books. So.
Yeah, it's a Hallmark book. It's really, really good.
It's really wonderful. Okay, guys, my name is Sharon Ray. I write romantic suspense, the kind of complex mysteries and very romantic stories. And I have a bunch of books coming out this year. Love's Last Kiss finally has a publication date of May 17th. Very excited. The pre-order will probably go up in another week or so. But I also have been writing during COVID contemporary romances. So I've got a couple anthologies coming out. Mr. October.
Can't wait for that.
Mrs. Wright.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then this one, Let's Get Naughty.
Oh, that's very cute.
What's it say? Let's get what?
Let's get naughty.
Oh, wait, yeah, Let's Get Naughty.
Let's get naughty. Oh, I like it.
This is my husband's least favorite cover. Anyway,
Who
tonight
likes the October one better.
He likes Mrs. Wright. That's his favorite. Anyway, tonight we're so excited because we're interviewing one of our own. We're interviewing our very own Jennie Marts. Jennie is a USA Today bestselling author of award-winning books filled with love, laughter, and always has a happily ever after. Her readers call her books laugh out loud funny and the perfect mix of romance, humor, and steam. Fic Central claimed one of her books was the most fun I'd had reading in years. Jennie's living her own happily ever after in the mountains of Colorado with her husband and 2 dogs, a parakeet who loves to tweet to the oldies, and she's addicted to Diet Coke and adores Cheetos. She also believes you can't have too many books, shoes, or friends, and I totally agree with her. Her books range from Western romances to cozy mysteries, but they all have the charm and appeal of a quirky small-town life. She loves her genre mashups, like adding romance to her page turners, cozy mysteries, and creating the hockey-playing cowboys in the Cowboys of Credence series. The same small-town community comes to life with more animal antics in her latest Credence Horse Rescue series. Sassy heroines and hunky heroes carry over in her heartwarming feel-good romances from Hallmark Publishing. And like Diana said, tonight we're giving away a copy of Rescuing Harmony Ranch. So, without further ado, we'd love to have Jennie come back to the group.
Welcome, Jennie.
What was it like being behind and then coming forward? Was it fun?
I know it felt really weird. I wanted to like respond to all the stuff. I was so excited about Sharon's covers. I wanted to wave during all the stuff. It's very hard to be backstage. I'm not
Yeah, especially when you're used to running the show. I know. So Jenny, I just want to start. I think How to Cowboy is my favorite credence of the horse rescue series. I think it's my favorite.
Oh.
But I did love the last one.
Yeah, well, each one I do that with each one. I think, oh, this is my favorite, and then I read the next one. Oh, I think this one's my favorite, and then the next one. Oh, I think this one's my favorite.
Well, I think
this one made me cry so much. That at one point, I was listening to it on tape. I was in my car and I was mad at Jenny. I was so mad. Like, why are you doing this to me?
What part made you cry so hard?
When she went into her, well, I for people who haven't read it, it's about it's a romance, but there's a little girl there who's lost her mom, and when she back to her mom's house, just the details were so vivid and so real. And she walks in, she calls her mom.
I know.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
It was so heartbreaking. But I have to say, Jenny,
thanks, Jenny.
You've written a number of books with children in them, and you do them beautifully. You really do.
You.
Yeah, you almost make me think having kids wouldn't be horrible.
Don't be
almost, not quite, but almost.
I have had a couple of kids, so I know. And now Diana got me a little bit there with her little comment.
I'm so sorry.
You know, Jenny, I sat down to read your book, and I'd only had 10 pages here and 20 pages there, and then I finally had like an hour, and I thought, okay, I'm going to sit and read Jenny's book. So I read, and I got to page 50, and I thought, wow, now I'm really fast. I'll just read till page 100. So then I read to page 100, and I thought, well, that was really fast. I'll just read to page 150. And then pretty soon I get to 150, and then I'm like, well, 200 is just right there. So I'll just read to 200, And then I got to 200, and I thought, fuck it. I'll just read the whole book tonight.
Classic. Classic Jenny.
Yes, it was such a good book. It was literally, almost like a whole one sitting read for me. It was very good.
Aww.
Yeah, I read it in 2 nights. I read it in 2 nights. And I didn't want to stop, but it was 2 a.m. So.
Now, Jenny, have you ever listened to any of your books on audio? Because I listened to it on audio.
I was going to ask you because I haven't heard this one on audio. I have listened to some of them, but how was it?
It was really good. And I don't know the name of the woman narrator, but she did a great job on Cade's voice. At one point, he says, I got you. And I just felt that chills in my body. She did such a good job. You could hear it was him. So she did great job.
I'll tell you a little story about that. Since we love hearing behind the scenes information or behind the scenes stuff. So my first series that I wrote, so for those of you that don't know, Sharon kind of talked to you a little bit about my bio, but I also write mysteries. And my very first series is a kind of a cozy mystery / romantic comedy series called The Page Turners. And it's these little mysteries right here. Another Saturday Night, and this is the newest one, What to Do About Wednesday. But I met this narrator in Florida. I think I was at a conference in Florida, and I met Stacy Glomboski, and we just hit it off so well. And she did the most amazing job with The Page Turners. And, Another Saturday Night and I Ain't Got Nobody was my first book. It's, how that first book is just really special to you. And it's got all of these different characters, and it's got this old lady. Edna and Aunt Sassy probably could be, twin sisters or something.
Oh, I love
and so when Stacy did that series, and she's done 3 of them, I think, so far, she just did such an amazing job capturing all of those characters and the different voices. And this time, when this book came up, I was given a choice of narrators, and they said, here's 3 narrators that you can pick. And one of them was Stacy. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's cool.
So I got to pick Stacy for one of my cowboy books too. And she is just awesome. So I'm really glad. I have not got to hear all of it. I've heard little different samples. So I'm really glad it came across.
That was fantastic.
In audio.
Yeah, she did a great job. It was a bit steamy, this book.
Yes.
Yeah, there was an attraction.
Getting caught in the rain. Like, yes. Let's find ourselves a cabin. All I could think was, who owns this cabin?
I know. I want this cabin in the rain without the rattlesnake.
Yeah, it was Bryn's hunting cabin, because everyone just has a spare hunting cabin just sitting out in the
with clean sheets and a nice soft bed. And
yeah, I was expecting like a little dirt hole that hadn't been cleaned out. And I was like, oh, this is nice in here.
Just happen to have half a bottle of whiskey, like no food, but a half a bottle of whiskey in it somewhere in case you need
a hot shower and
snake bite or something. I don't know.
Well, Jenny, I have a question. So this is your second series set in the Credence world. Is it a real town? Did you make it up? Is it based on a real town? I want to move there. Like, I'm ready right now. And I want to be surrounded by
with Bryn and Nora and Elle and Jillian.
I'm going to work at the horse farm. I'll work in the library. I was really mad because with the librarian, I was like, that's my job.
Well, just wait for the next book, because the next book is about Jillian. And there's a whole bunch of it that happens in the library. Although no steamy stuff in the library. I should have probably put that in. That would have been.
That's fine. I know.
No.
So Credence is a pretend town. I don't really even know how I came up with the name of it, but it's a fictional town. And so many of my fictional towns come from like a mix of, I am from a small town in Kansas. I'm from a little town called Washington, Kansas, and I was born in Manhattan, Kansas. So go Wildcats. And then when we graduated college, we moved to this little tiny town in Fort Benton, Montana. Or it's called Fort Benton. It's in Montana. And I think a lot of my towns are just kind of a mashup of like Fort Benton, Montana and Washington, Kansas. And then above Colorado Springs is a town called Woodland Park. And then it's kind of a mesh up of like several little towns up in the mountains of Colorado. So, but I do have it very clear in my head, like where all the shops are and how the Credence Tavern is, down at the end and the diner's down at the end.
Is it just in your head, or do you have like Lori Foster was telling us last time that she has like printouts and stuff like that? Do you have it, things like that, or is it all in your head?
I do have a little map that I wrote out. Just, it is very clear in my head, but I do have a map that's written out. I tried to talk to my publisher to see if she would put a map in the back of the book, but
they put maps in my books.
Yeah, it's not yet. I haven't got a map yet.
Yeah, but I have to say, my husband made the map. He made the map for them, so all they had to do was put it into InDesign.
Your husband made the maps in your book, Sharon?
I do. Yeah, the front cover of in the front of all of my books has a map.
And your husband made those?
Yeah, he made them.
That is the neatest thing. I didn't know that.
It was a map.
Oh, well, the gauntlet has been thrown. I'm going to tell my husband he's all about the maps. So,
yeah. So Jenny, if you make a map, I bet Sourcebooks would put them in for you. If there's one that don't have to do the work.
Or maybe Sharon's husband will do it for you.
I know, right? Can I send him my notes? Maybe he'll make me a map.
Yeah, maybe he'll make you a map. I'll ask him.
There you go.
Because I bet if you handed it to them, they would put it in the book.
Well, I don't know. They might. But yeah, it's pretty clear in my head what it looks like and how it looks. So
and there's another book coming soon. I'm so excited about this.
The next book in the series?
Yeah. With Ethan.
So I do have, they sent me the cover just a few days ago. So if you guys want, here's a little secret cover reveal.
Oh, yeah, we want
cover.
So this is Jillian and Ethan's book coming up next. Gosh.
I love.
I know. I love it.
It's very cute.
So what's so perfect about this book cover is in the background. I know there's a lot of glare on it, but in the background, there's a horse and a lake and a mountain. And this book has this whole scene. Oh, it's so hard to do this. It has this whole scene with Ethan and Jillian up at this mountain lake, and
Oh,
so,
how cool! Now,
yeah,
are
so
you
that's the book cover has that.
locked into the Cowboys? Do you ever see yourself doing something outside of that, or?
Oh, I have a whole series of hockey players.
Yeah, but
So
they're
I
hockey playing Cowboys.
Well, yeah, but the reason why I have hockey playing Cowboys is because I started out my first the Bannister brothers is all hockey players. It's romantic comedies with professional hockey players. So Worth the Shot is like the first book in that series.
Oh, neat.
And
It's a really cute cover. I don't think I've seen that before.
That is a cute cover.
Yeah.
And then Icing on the Date is like one of my most favorite romantic comedies. It's
that's a great title.
That is a great title.
It's a hockey player with a cupcake caterer, and the book opens up with her like walking into a door and like getting cupcakes all over her chest, and she goes in the bathroom, and then he, as this professional hockey player, is drunk, and he comes into the bathroom to make out with like a girl, and the girl gets mad because he can't remember her name, and she runs out, and he like is on the floor of the women's bathroom, and she comes out, and he starts trying to lick the frosting off her chest.
Oh boy.
So
that's an interesting
his
start.
manager thinks that she would be so cute for his reputation or whatever. He's this bad boy hockey player. It's one of my favorite books. It's just a really fun romantic comedy. I don't think I have it sitting here.
Sounds adorable.
It sounds wonderful. So your Bannister brothers that became your
Here it
source.
is, Icing on the Date.
Aw.
Yeah.
So they came from that series. It was like they came out of that world.
So I had written the hockey books, and then I got the deal with Deb, and she was like, with Source Books, and she said, let's think about, 3 3 Cowboys brothers, and what could be unique and different about them. And I said, well, what if they play hockey? And so that's how the Cowboys of Credence came out, because I had already written hockey players.
Okay.
So, and I have another romantic comedy series of like, well, I guess it's a park ranger and a fly fisherman and a cowgirl. So I guess I do get out in the country a lot.
We have a question for you, Jenny.
Sure.
So Shari Bartholomew asks, are you sad to say goodbye to your characters when you were done writing a book?
Or are you sick of them?
Does it depend on how hard the book was to write?
Right?
I don't know that I'm sad. I'm always just so happy for them because they just got a little happily ever after. And I know that the series just keep going on. I know that I'm going to bring them again along with the series. So I haven't ever got to the end of a series yet. Like in my mind, every series still has another book for it.
Wow.
Whether I've written it or sold it, in my mind, there probably is still another book coming. So, and when you talk about little Easter eggs or whatever, so in the Cowboys of Credence, the first book, Caught Up in a Cowboy, Rock plays for the Summit, which is actually the same team that the Bannister brothers play on. And I mentioned the Owen and Bane Bannister in that book. So they do have this tiny little secret crossover if you have read some of those to know, the Brawling Bannisters are in the Cowboy book and they play for the same team, the Colorado Summit.
That's cool. We have somebody from Australia watching tonight, ladies. And I'm sorry, it just says Facebook user, and sometimes it does that, and I'm not sure why, but hello to Australia watching.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
What time is it there?
I know. It's 7:19 in the evening here. 7:19 p.m. here in Ohio. Or for me in Ohio. And Jenny, you're at a different time zone, right?
She's an hour behind.
Yeah, it's 5:20 here.
Oh, 2 hours behind. I keep forgetting you're 2 hours behind.
Yeah,
so Jenny, here's some more questions. What is your favorite thing about writing? Not drafting.
Yeah. I think if you're a writer, you just sort of have this thing in your soul where you just are a storyteller, and it's fun I love to make people laugh. And I love to make people cry. I just like to touch someone and, well, not like that. Well, emotionally. Um, I don't know. I love telling a good story that makes someone feel something or have an emotion, I guess. Man, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
It is a hard question. And where do you get your inspirations from? Or do they just come randomly?
Oh, gall. Different times, different things. So I have spent 27 years working in a bank, and I worked part-time. And so this year I have gotten the opportunity to work full-time, and I've retired from banking. But I used to just, people would come sit down at my desk, and it would usually be a couple, and to open up a new checking account, and I would be like, oh, let me get your information. How did you two meet?
You're like taking notes.
I'm going to siphon this for a book, by the way, FYI.
Mining people for stories. Sometimes I read a book and I think, man, that did not end how I want. Like, I wish this ended a different way. And so then I'll think, oh, I need to write a book like that. That's, you know, a story that has the ending that I wished would happen.
Did anything surprise you? Did anything surprise you when writing this book in the story?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a hard question, especially because I've written like 2 other books since then.
She can't.
How do you keep them straight?
I've written 3 books since then. So I think sometimes when people ask you that, if you think about, you watch Netflix, we've been watching TV all of our lives. And back in the day, and what they're trying to do again now, is they just have a show every week, you know, once a week. You don't get to watch it till the next Friday. You still remember all those characters. You still have that show in your head. Sometimes you watch a show and then you have to wait a year for the next part of the series to come out. And you still like have that world and the characters and all of that in your head to keep straight. And I think that's kind of how it is for us as writers too, that we just see them so clearly. We know them so well. They're like real people to us, I guess. So when I go to write the page turners, I mean, these women in this book are like people that I know. And so it's just like going back and visiting old friends, I guess.
Jennie, one of the things I absolutely loved about this book, and you kind of did this in I think it was 2 books ago when you had the children. I thought you did a great job balancing the relationship between Cade and his daughter and Cade and the woman he falls in love with, right? Because both of them could have taken over more of the story, but they were both very poignant and very different. Like, you know, his need to become a father versus his need to fall in love. And I just thought you did a brilliant job. Was that hard balancing those 2 relationships?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm asking my question right.
No, that must have been hard. I agree.
They were both powerful primary relationships within the book. It was like there was almost 2 storylines at the same time.
It was, because I didn't want, you know, I had to be really careful because Nora's primary job there was to take care of Allie. And so I wanted to be really careful and not make her unlikable, that she wasn't taking care of Allie. And that, but I also wanted her to just kind of seamlessly fit into their lives. And I think that sometimes is the way when a new relationship happens like that, is when people just sort of seamlessly sort of feel like, you know, this is a new family, this is a new relationship, this is something new and different, and it just sort of feels right. And that's how I wanted them to feel, like the 3 of them just felt right and felt like comfortable and easy and not hard, I guess.
Well,
I love. Oh, go ahead, Abbie.
I felt like it was really real. The trying to like have intimate moments with him and Nora, like those stolen moments. You know what I mean? Because when you're a parent, they have to be stolen moments. They can't just be anytime. You know. And I thought that was, I felt like that really helped balance it out, because then, you know, they have to steal the moments for the relationship, but the responsibility is to the daughter. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
And they were very careful. Like they were both of them were very careful about protecting her.
Yeah.
And I laughed out loud when she was with her dad and she said, I don't know whatever weird thing that adults do on dates. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
That made me
Yeah,
laugh.
his voice is
My
great.
daughter once said that to me. She goes, what do you
Really-
do on a date?
I had to be really careful with Cade writing a dad who is estranged from his daughter and have him still be likable.
Yeah.
And that's a really touchy thing too, as to, you know, I am a child of divorce. And so it's like that was a really tight balancing act of how to keep Cade likable, even though he hasn't been a part of his child's life. How
Well,
did you guys
making
feel
him
about
young,
that?
making him a young father really helped, I think. Like, you know, Cade and his first wife, Amber, right? You know,
Mhm.
making them very young parents, I think that made it very believable.
Mm-hmm. Because men always mature slower than women.
Jenny,
Yeah, I found him adorable. I found, you know, his growth believable, and him as a character, like one of the strongest voices I've ever heard. In that it just was so clear. I could just so picture him by the way he talked. Did he come through clear in your head, or did you have to fiddle with the dialogue a lot?
That's
No.
That's how I hear him exactly.
Yeah, he was so clear. I loved it.
Well, and two, I think the balancing he had to do with Allie, because I think he knew that he needed to be patient with her because she had a right to be angry with him, you know, and that, you know, she is being a real big turd right now, you know, but I'm going to keep it, you know, my mouth shut. I'm not going to say anything, you know, like, because he knows he's got to earn her back.
Yeah,
you know?
that was endearing.
Yeah, and I think that was endearing. And I think if you hadn't made him earn her back, then it wouldn't have worked. But he worked hard to earn her love again.
One of my most favorite scenes to write was when he washed her hair.
I love that
I love
scene.
that. Yeah, that was beautiful.
And I really had fun with like him braiding her hair and saying that he knew how to braid on his horse's tail.
I love that. That was great.
And then he's looking up YouTube videos on how to braid his hair.
And you made her so contrary, right? Because I had a 14-year-old girl daughter. I mean, it was perfect.
Mhm.
1 minute they love you, 1 minute they hate you. You know, it's just you'll be just separate from her relationship issues with him, whether or not she trusts him, just the general contrariness throughout the day.
Right. And I really tried to show that she would feel bad about liking him when her mom, like she would feel like she was betraying her mom if she was too nice to him or if she loved him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we have a Facebook user ask, how do you start your writing process?
Coffee and a prayer. I don't know.
You keep a folder. You keep a folder for each book, correct?
Oh yeah, I do. So I can show that. So I have these little I'm sitting at my writing desk right now and all my stuff is right next to me. So I have a folder for each book that I write, and I keep track of the chapters down here because I try to keep my chapters about 10 to 12 pages long, and I have all the characters' names on here, and I have all the animals' names because trying to keep track of all the animals and the animals that are in there and what the eye colors are. And so I can move these. Oh no, this is Ethan's. So, but like this is from the last book and this is this book. So I I have that. I do plot ahead of time. I plant some too. Like sometimes something in the book will just surprise me and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to make it work like this. The scene that I'm writing right now is goat yoga with baby goats and a yoga instructor. And I am just having so much fun with that. And
I heard that can be painful.
Yeah, my sister just did it. So I called my sister and I was like, tell me all about every detail of you doing the goat yoga.
I heard those goats can be a little painful on your back. I was like, I don't want a goat on my back.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing, yeah. So apparently they have to be babies, and mine are baby pygmy goats, so they're about the
What
size
if
of
they,
a
like,
cat.
poop on you and stuff? I guess do these.
I know.
That's what my sister said happened during the goat yoga. Is the one walked over this lady and just doop doop doop, and I guess
That'll
"Oh,
ruin
that's
your
happening in my
zen.
book." I
That'll
guarantee
ruin
you.
your zen for sure.
You know, I heard there was a thing where they were doing chicken yoga, and but they put diapers on the chickens.
Oh, God.
You know,
Oh
because
my gosh.
yeah, I'm like, what do they think of next?
Well, and apparently they put like goat treats on your back to try to get them to walk on you.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I know.
gosh.
I have to say
can't
thank
wait to
you to
read this
Natalie
thing.
because I can see her message says, "My aunt and I love your books." So thank you so much.
So as a kind of a carry-on question to that, do you keep a series Bible for the world?
Oh, y'all. No, I should.
Okay. Okay. Next question. Do you ever find yourself talking about your characters in real time, but not realizing what you're doing at first?
Probably. Like just talk about them like they're real. Oh, yeah, for sure. I think we probably all do that. Yeah, probably for sure.
Is there any other genre you want to write in?
Well, so they say this thing about, oh, writers should stay in their lane and you should pick one genre and just write that. And I totally blew it right from the beginning because I started out writing mysteries, these cozy mysteries that were half romantic comedy. And then I wrote some romantic comedies, and I love throwing mysteries in all my stories. So, yeah, I think that let's just say, without giving too much away, that in the next year or so, you might be able to find a new cozy mystery series out there in the world from Miss Jennie Marts.
That'd be wonderful.
But I also would love to write a thriller. I have this great idea in mind for a thriller. And
Ooh,
so
I'd love a Jennie Marts thriller.
So yeah, I have this great
There'll
idea.
be animals in it, right? I'm sure there are animals in it.
I don't know. I don't know if there would be animals in it or not. Maybe a dog. There's always a dog in every one of my books, right? So yeah, I have this whole like spin out idea of this thriller. I just have to find the time to write it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Finding time for all the ideas.
Yeah, that's what someone was asking earlier about where do you get your ideas, and I think you guys would probably agree. Figuring out the ideas is not hard. It's finding the time to write all the stories to go with the ideas.
Absolutely.
And I'm also really big about talking things out and using other writer friends, picking their brains and brainstorming ideas. And if I get stuck, I'm always calling up, a writer friend saying, "Oh my gosh, I need a festival, or I need some way to throw them together. I need some ranch chore activity that they can do." And so I'm big on brainstorming ideas with other writer friends.
Is it difficult to go from publishing for one publisher and another publisher and then self-publishing? Is it like a juggling act or?
Sometimes, yes, but more about like the deadlines than the editing process. I think. So right now I have written for 3 different publishers. Started out with Entangled. I went to Sourcebooks. I'm still with Sourcebooks. I write for Hallmark Publishing as well. And possibly another secret publisher coming up. I think the part that's hard to juggle is you're working on something for one publisher and then your edits come in from your other publisher's book and you have to.
Then you're marketing, right? Then you're doing the marketing for the books you wrote 2 years ago.
Yeah. And so fitting them in, because you can't just say to one, "Oh, I need an extra 4 days because I have to do something for my other publisher." Like, yeah, I think it is a balancing act of trying to put all those pieces together, but it's also exciting and fun and a challenge to do something. My Hallmark books are really sweet. And I think I might have told this story before that there was one point in the Hallmark book on page 100 where I had them kiss. And my editor was like, "Oh, no. You can't have them kiss on page 100. That's way, way too soon." And in Hallmark, they really don't kiss until the very end. The very end is they kiss, the end.
Mhm.
But I had just done gotten some edits back from my sourcebooks editor who said, I'm at page 100 and they haven't even kissed yet. So I had to go add in extra kisses in one book and take some out in the other. So not funny.
That is so funny. That is so funny. Is it interesting to see how different publishers work? Like
It is. Oh yeah, it is for sure.
They're
And
all
to see different marketing and different editors have different styles and the way they, I tell all of my editors, I can take all of your direction and all of your criticism as long as I have some smiley faces thrown in of what you loved. You have to tell me 3 things you love first, and then you can tell me everything that that I need to fix.
I'm going to remember that next time.
I know, I am too, because my editor was like, I hate this. She'd say, oh, this is another really fabulous Abbie Roads book, but here's all the stuff I hated, and then, a real giant list.
Exactly. So I tell him, I need some smiley faces in my someplace where you laughed or you smiled or something. Throw in a smiley face, and I'll just live on that.
We're stealing the Jennie technique.
So funny. Hey, so, Jennie, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you were saying that you write a book for one publisher, another publisher. So are they spaced anytime really close together? I mean,
yep.
You'll have 2 releases for different publishers close together.
Yep.
How do you balance that kind of?
Well, this summer you have 2 coming out this summer for 2 publishers.
I do, and they were supposed to come out in the same month, so I just had to call one and say, this one was already scheduled, so can we back it up? And they backed me up a month. So, I think it's just communication, and the publishers don't want them coming out in the same month. So I think they're usually pretty good about switching. But yes, balancing that, and I now, because I'm so late on my deadline right now, my book is due on Tuesday. I have 2 new books to write before July.
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
But you'll do it because you are
you always do it.
As soon as this house renovation is done, then I will be able to settle down and have. So for those of you that don't know, my house is being renovated right now. I live in a tri-level. My main level, where my living room and my kitchen, dining room are, is all completely torn apart. I have no furniture in there. I have nothing in there but a bunch of painting supplies right now and plywood. And it's been months. I don't have a sink. I don't have a kitchen. I don't have a stove. I just have a blank space.
Oh my God.
Boxes of cabinets that have to be put together, right?
And we put together the base cabinets. We had 311 boxes shipped to us from IKEA of our cabinets put together. And we started last weekend. So we got, I think, 20 base cabinets built of 26.
Wow, good for you.
Jennie, are you doing any book signings or anything this year? Are you going to any events?
I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's such
are you going to Book Lovers Con? I have not responded.
I don't know. It's such a weird time in the world right now. I miss people. So for my readers out there, I miss you. I miss you. I miss seeing my editors. I miss seeing my agent. I miss seeing you 3. It's just such a weird time in the world. I'm ready. So
yeah, you're an extrovert. You love that.
Yeah, I do. I love that. So, and I feel like at this point in time, I've been vaccinated, boosted, and had COVID. So I'm ready to go see some people.
Well, are there any conferences even going on right now? I don't know of many.
Yeah, there are a lot of local book signings going on, and Book Lovers Con is going on in August now. The old Romantic Times.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But I don't want to go to Houston in August.
Yeah, I said no for Book Lovers Con.
I haven't responded yet. I need to do that.
I don't know. I want to. I miss everybody. So I miss people. I am an extrovert. And like I was saying earlier, that's where I get my energy and my stories, is from overhearing people or asking people their story or hearing their love stories. So yeah, I miss that.
Okay, Jennie.
It's been years since we've roomed together.
I have a serious question, Jennie.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. On the farm,
Yes.
who is your favorite rescue animal?
Sheamus.
So
Sheamus.
Tell everybody who Sheamus is, just in case they haven't.
Sheamus is the mini horse, and Sheamus is a real horse. So I was at a party, and we went and saw this. I mean, it was a work party. It wasn't like a wild rager or anything. I was at a barbecue. I should say that I was at a barbecue. My husband's
He
work.
was at a rager, and there was a mini horse there.
There was a mini horse. And we went to visit this gal's horse, and there was this little tiny, like the cutest little old man horse that, you know, just looked like a little old man, and he was this little mini horse, and his name was Sheamus. And I was like, this horse is coming into my next book series. This is just what's happening. And Sheamus was left abandoned on the porch with a note that said he liked macaroni and cheese and jelly beans, and that they couldn't keep him. And so he's been around for several books, but I just love that he has this relationship with Tiny, the not tiny hog, the fashion conscious.
the one that watches TV.
Yeah.
And Tiny likes to watch Friends, and she has her sitcoms that she likes to watch. And the goat, Otis, constantly, like, somehow, nobody really knows how, but between the goat, the mini horse, and the pig, they figure out how to always escape. So they're always getting out. But Sheamus
What
is
about
probably
that coyote? That coyote.
Oh, I love One-Eyed Jack.
Yes.
So I would have done that. I would have picked it up as a dog. I would have picked the coyote up as a dog.
They look very dog-like. They do.
They
I would have
do.
done that. I would have known the difference.
I hope that made you guys laugh, because I had
That's
so
cute.
much fun writing that scene where she just tossed him the hamburger and had him like jump in the car. And when Cade's just cracking up, and she's like, well, that was your hamburger. So laughing.
Is One-Eyed Jack going to show up in any of the other books? I hope so. He needs a happily ever after.
Jack, One-Eyed Jack does. Jenny, maybe you need to write a short love story for One-Eyed Jack.
One-Eyed Jack and Otis, the goat.
Yes, have a happily ever after.
So, you know, there is a theme in some of my books about coyotes and how coyotes are assholes.
Yeah.
So I have
Are they really?
Yes, they really are. They killed my dog when I was a kid.
Oh no!
Like, that's a real life story. Is coyotes killed my dog? I had this little mini collie. Well, our family did, and coyotes got my dog. And so I always make coyotes the villain in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it was One-Eyed Jack was kind of, but he was still the villain. I mean, there was the whole thing about you think this coyote is
The
good.
chickens.
You feed him a hamburger, and you put him in your car, and you help him. You go out of your way to help him. But yet in the end, he's still a coyote. He's still going to go after the chickens. He's still going to kill the chickens, which was kind of how Cade felt about himself too. That,
right.
He still is this villain. He still is going to act like a coyote.
So I'm hoping in the book for Tuesday that One-Eyed Jack shows up. Can you put him in?
I don't know.
You've got time.
Yeah. Yes, we have a request for One-Eyed Jack in the next book.
Okay.
So Jenny, we asked our book clubbers if they had ever ridden a horse and what the biggest animal they ever had in their house was. So now we'll ask you, have you ever ridden a horse?
Oh yes, many, many, many times.
It seems like you have. They're very authentic, your scenes, your horse scenes.
Yeah, I know, with the stable scenes and all the things. You know what all the things are.
Yeah, I grew up on a farm. So my dad is a veterinarian. My sister, my brother-in-law are all veterinarians. My dad really does have, church boots and work boots, and, he's got about 6 pair of boots. And so we do have a barn, a big barn, and we had horses growing up, and my grandpa would take us on these wagon trains every summer. And so there really was this wagon train thing where every summer for, I think it was 3 or 4 nights, and my grandpa with a team of horses, like 2 horses, a wagon, and 3 little girls that were his granddaughters. That's when he would take us. And my cousins would come sometimes too. So, which there was only 3 more of them, but he would take us to these wagon trains, and you would go camp out and ride horses all day and try to follow this part in Kansas where you would go through. And I'm a true horsey girl. I love horses.
You already know how to cowboy.
Well, I
love that theme for the book, teaching his daughter and Nora how to cowboy. I thought that was really charming.
Oh, thank you. So Sourcebooks gave me that title, and I had to figure out how to use that in the book.
Oh, really? You used it very well, because I thought it was the other way around. That
I did too.
They must have pulled from your book for the title.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Deb gave me that title, and I had to figure out how to incorporate it in. So,
wow,
So the book you're writing now that's due Tuesday, what's that title?
Every Bit of Cowboy.
Ooh, so I like it.
So Never Enough Cowboy is next. That's Ethan and Jillian's story. And then in the way back, Carly has shown up several times. Carly is the beautician. Carly's Cut and Curl. And she's shown up several times. And Jillian is her sister. And so that's the book I'm writing right now, is Carly's story.
And who's her hero?
Who's her hero? You haven't met him yet. You'll meet him in the next book. So he's a sheriff's deputy.
Oh, okay.
He works with Ethan. Yeah. So you'll meet him soon, but in the next book.
One of my favorites. Go ahead, Sharon.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
One of my favorite scenes was where Cade lost his daughter and couldn't find her and was really worried that she had left. And they found her out in the barn reading. And I was like, oh, that was just, you did that so well. Like, you painted the whole picture of her laying there and surrounded by all the animals. And was it Daisy was her horse, listening. And I was just like, I totally saw that, felt that, was right there. That was.
Were you a big reader as a child?
Oh my gosh, ridiculous. Just so, and I read in the barn all the time. Like, when you're on a farm, you leave the house in the morning and you come back when the dinner bell rings for lunch and you go out again. And so we had a tree house. I would read in my tree house and I would read in the barn, and I would go to the library and get these big stacks of books. And I can remember the librarian going, "Are you sure you can read all those books, honey?" And my dad being like, "Yes, she can read all those books." So
when did you start with romance reading?
Not when I was a kid. I have always loved suspense and mystery. And it wasn't until Nora Roberts was the first, and her mystery, she has the romantic suspense.
Right.
So as an adult, I discovered Nora Roberts, and that's probably, but I do like romantic comedy and women's fiction, and a lot of women's fiction has some romance and stories in it, but it was more as an adult that I really discovered the romance genre. And
what do you read now mostly?
Besides the books for our book club.
I know, yeah, that's mainly what I read. I still like thrillers, something that can take me away. Last year I read Second First Impressions, and man, I love that book so much. That was the new Sally Thorne book this year. So if you like The Hating Game, Second First Impressions was just such an adorable book. I really love Frederick Bachman, and I read Anxious People this year, and I just think he is a genius at having all these different scenarios and having them all weave into one. I just love that in a book, when somehow something that happens here circles back around and it's really connected to something over here.
Are you a Harry Potter fan?
Oh yes,
yeah,
so much.
I love that in that book, that she just loves Harry Potter. All the kids love Harry Potter, and the reading nook you built for the kids in the farm.
In that farm. Did you love that? Man, I want to go live in that old Victorian house. I haven't there and I want a turret. Someday I want a house with a turret. That's my dream, is to have a house with a turret and a reading nook in it. And I want a window seat. I don't know. My husband's like, "When would you ever sit in a window seat?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I want one." In a turret. Could you just build me that, please?
Make it part of the renovations. The house
Yeah,
renovation.
exactly. Just add it on there real quick, Jenny.
Just our little neighborhood. It's the house down there with the turret.
Would you ever write a historical? Would you ever?
No, you know why? Because even though I like reading them, I'm terrible at research. I hate doing research. I'm the worst at research.
Research is tough.
Some people I know just love it and dig it and get into
Sharon.
Yeah, you know what though? I'm afraid of the historical readers.
Oh. No, I'm afraid I would get a detail wrong, like having them pull on their silk stockings and that those weren't invented until like 20 years from when.
Right.
Like, I just like having things current. And I think, don't you think that happens sometimes? You remember reading stuff 20 years ago and, well, gosh, maybe we did have cell phones 20 years ago. Before we had cell phones.
Right.
But like Sue Grafton, her books started way back and they've lasted so long. And same with like Janet Ivanovich, who is my favorite author. So Janet Ivanovich is my favorite author. But
fantastic.
There's certain things that happened that her books are chronological. And so she has to stay back in this time of, Stephanie never had, maybe she has a cell phone, but it's not part of the thing like it is now.
So that leads me to the question, Jenny, Ranger or Joe?
Oh, Joe. Is that a Ranger? Yeah, Joe.
I'm totally a Ranger fan, but okay.
I am too. I'm Ranger all the way.
I am too. I'm Ranger fan.
I will tell you something though. I did go buy my husband some Bulgari shower gel because that's what Ranger uses.
I think, yes, right?
And if you go to Amazon and you go try to buy Bulgari shower gel and you read the reviews, like they will say in the reviews, like, I bought this because of Ranger. Because I was like, that's why I bought it too. So my husband can smell like Ranger. And it smells amazing too. It's not very cheap though, so.
Oh, that's so funny.
I have to use it sparingly.
Yeah.
Can you
special occasions?
Yeah.
Just one of the last questions. Can you just tell us a little bit about the Hallmark book coming out in the summer?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I'm so excited about the Hallmark book. So it's called Cowboy Ever After. And it is a story about a romance writer who, this is a perfect segue, Sharon, who has never really been on a ranch or been around cowboys. And her reviewers are kind of coming after her and saying, you can tell that she really doesn't have any real ranch experience. And she has this pudgy corgi named Gladys. And her editor grew up on a farm in Montana. And so her editor says, you have to go spend a week on this ranch in Montana, my brother's ranch. Her brother's a widower, of course. Or widow, I guess. I don't know. Widow is the man. And so she takes her, pudgy corgi and Gladys jump in the car and they go to Montana to spend a week on the ranch with Luke. And as she's going there, she's just terrified. She's really timid. And her editor says, well, you need to just channel your heroine, Sassy Scott. Every time you start to be nervous, ask yourself, what would Sassy do? And act like her and do what she would do. Well, so Kaylee says, okay, I'll do this. And she gets to the ranch and the rancher, Luke, who walks out, is just the epitome of Duke Ramsey, the hero in her book.
Oh, I love
it. Just like so full of just cute, adorable.
Kind of a romancing the stone.
Yes.
Type.
Yes.
That sounds like fun.
It is a really, really fun book. So I actually that cover just came out. They just debuted that cover like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, it's a beautiful cover.
Did you put it on Facebook? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I saw it. It's beautiful.
Oh, I did see it.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
Isn't that kind of fun?
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
And it looks like, he's kind of just like walking up, riding up on the horse to the.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you for those of you who are saying
much fun.
Cover, and for Sharon, for other Sharon, saying that you're excited to read How to Cowboy. I'm excited for you to read it. So,
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it yet, it's wonderful. You absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So, and the nice thing is you don't have to read all the books in order.
No,
I mean,
you
it
don't.
helps. I think it gives you a better sense of the world, but you can just start at any of the books and then
And
go
plus,
back.
you just want to go back. You just want to stay in that world.
I know.
Just keep them coming, Jenny. We just love that. We love being in
Yeah.
that world where
Mhm.
everyone is so friendly and kind, and
Yeah.
the
That
cowboys
one
are so
man sounds
damn
good.
adorable.
I've never met a real cowboy. One day I will.
Oh gosh. Introduce you to my dad. He's a real cowboy.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Are we
Yeah, I think we should. Thanks you so much, Jenny. It was awesome having you here today, our guest.
Thank you so much for
Glad you
reading.
could join us, Jenny.
Yes,
I
was
know,
gonna be
God,
here
I'm
anyway.
kind of out of order. I'm not sure what to. Yeah, I know because.
No, I think we're doing the questions, Sharon.
Yeah, so I will tell.
Oh, we're not doing okay. So
The questions are coming up as a segue into our next book that we're reading next month, and we do have some questions that might give you a hint as to the genre of the next book that we're reading. So Sharon, what are our questions for this?
So the question for tonight is, what is your favorite football team? And so I'm going to name the 4 football teams, and on the poll in the comments, you try to match up the football team to one of us. So the football teams are Army, which is West Point, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Denver Broncos. So which one of us has
This is
favorite?
like the easiest we've ever
Well,
done.
if you all know us, you should like.
I
be-
know.
I think
I
we're
know,
gonna have
I
a
know.
pretty easy time with this one. But anyway, we're so excited to introduce our next book.
Oh, I forgot
hope
my
I'm
hat.
not the only one that have
Nope,
brought
I
a
forgot
hat. That's okay. It's Blindsided by Amy Dawes. We're so excited to have her with us. Oh my God. Can't wait to talk to her.
mine. I can't wait to read
She's
that.
hysterical. She's really fun.
Oh yeah, she is a hoot. She does a lot of her writing at like a tire store where they changed her tires. She got into writing there, but we'll find out more about that when we get to talk with her at the end of March 31st.
And we forgot to mention, I have to take off this is my Yellowstone Dutton Ranch hat. So
Ooh,
any of you are like cowboys, man, you've got to be watching Yellowstone. But we forgot to mention, I don't know if you can see Diana's shirt, but and behind us, so we have got some merch.
Mhm.
So Isn't It Romantic now has some of their own merchandise. And
Yes.
I'm wearing my shirt, it just hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah,
So
mine
we've
is-
got shirts and cups, and so our
glasses and this cool sweatshirt. Can you see the sweatshirt over here?
Yep.
Oh, I
Mine-
love this sweatshirt.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
really
the sweatshirt's
cool.
really comfy too. I love it.
What color shirt did you get, Jenny?
teal.
I got
I'm
hot pink.
You got hot pink?
So we're like all be different colors.
Oh
Next
no,
time.
I think I got the light pink one.
Okay, I
I
got the hot pink.
I'm gonna
It was
order
hard.
the pink one.
Yeah, I might have to get the teal one next.
Because they're
Well,
all
thank
really
you,
cute.
Diana set all of that up for us. So
Yes,
I
yes. But
appreciate-
go
really
check it out. Go check out our merch because it is really, really super cute.
And we just love getting to say that we have merch.
We have merch. We're the cool kids now. We got merch.
Exactly. Oh man. All right. Thanks for everything, guys. And thanks, Jenny. And we will see you next month.
All right.
Night,
Bye.
everybody.